Hi class. So in this video, I'm going to talk about cause and effect. Your midterm assignment is to write a cause and effect essay. So this video is to guide you with this. Um, I've uploaded a model essay to Canvas. So I'd like you to read that before you watch this video. Okay, so what is cause and effect? So cause and effect is a kind of writing. We often use it to analyze a problem. Cause means the reason why something happens, and the effects means the results of the thing that's happening. So the impact of this thing. For example, you might get a question in an academic situation such as, what are the causes and effects of the rise in obesity? Obesity meaning people being very overweight. So in this essay, you would explain why more people are overweight and what impact this has on people's health and society. You might also get a question such as this: explain the historical reasons for the Israel-Palestine war. So this is cause. So why is this war happening? Or you might get a question like this: discuss the impact of COVID-19 on education. And that's effect. So how did COVID-19 change education? Okay, so it's a very common type of writing. In academic situations, you might be asked to write an essay focused on causes or effects or both. But in most essay writing, you need to do this to some extent, I think. So you will often need to discuss reasons why something happens, or you will often need to discuss the impact of something. So it's very, very useful. Some common language you can use. So for causes, you can use words like due to, leads to, results from. Pause the video if you want to read them more closely. And effects, you use words like consequence, leads to, results in, and due to. And notice that a lot of the language is similar when you're talking about causes and effects. Okay, so in the next lesson, we'll practice this language. So don't worry about it too much at the moment. And we can move on to look at the structure. So the structure of a cause and effect essay is quite straightforward. So 4 paragraphs. The first paragraph is an introduction. The second paragraph is causes. So you would explain 2 or 3 main causes of the problem. The third paragraph would be effects. So you explain 2 or 3 of the main effects of the problem, and then a conclusion. So introduction, cause paragraph, effect paragraph, conclusion. And to look at the structure in more detail, I'm going to show my model essay. So again, it's good if you've already read this, that's good. So you can pause the video and go and read it if you haven't yet. So this is my title. What are the causes and effects of violent crime in the UK? So, of course, I start with an introduction, and it's quite a short introduction. It's not too complicated. I start with a sentence to introduce the topic. Then I use a statistic to hook the reader. So by hook, I mean engage. I'm trying to get the reader interested in my essay. Then the final sentence in the introduction is my thesis statement. So this is saying more directly what I want to do with the essay. In other words, in this essay, I will discuss the causes and effects of violent crime in the UK. So, introduce the topic, a little hook to get the reader interested, and what's my main focus. So then, the causes paragraph. I start with a topic sentence. Then I've got 3 main points. And you should notice that I state these very directly. So one sentence. I try and be as direct as possible. And then after I've made my point, I'll explain the point. And the explanation is, in my opinion, the most important part. So in the explanation, you can show your knowledge and your English skill. So, yep, I explain the first point here. Talk about young people here, why they get into gang culture. And then alcohol abuse is the last point. I use a statistic to detail this point and then explain it a bit further. So the explanation, very important, but also notice that I'm only using 2 or 3 sentences for the explanation. So it doesn't need to be too long. And also notice some of the language I'm using. Again, we'll study this later, but it's good if you could start to notice it now. One cause is, leads to, results in, as a result, due to. This kind of language is what you want to use. So moving on to the effects paragraph, and it's basically the same structure. Topic sentence. Main points. Again, I try and say this, make these points very direct. One sentence. And then again, explain the points. So, yeah, I explain the long-term effects of violence in the first point. In the second point, I use an example. Examples are very good for academic writing. And then in the third point, I use another statistic and a bit more explanation. This kind of statistic, I think, is really good for demonstrating your point. And they're not that difficult to find. So I found this with a 5-minute Google search. What are the financial costs of violent crime? Google search that. Took 5 minutes to find a good statistic to use. So I recommend trying that. So again, topic sentence, make your point, explain your point. 3 main points. And again, on this slide, I highlighted some language for you to notice. The effects of crime are the most serious consequence leads to has a really bad impact. This kind of language you can use to describe effects. And finally, the summary. Again, it's a short summary. So first, I summarize the causes, then summarize the effects, and then a final statement, which in this case is it's really important that we should focus on reducing violent crime. So you've got summarize the causes, summarize the effects, final statement, and one sentence each is fine for all of those. Okay, so that's my overview of how to write a cause and effect essay. And like I said, we'll practice this in the next few weeks. In week 6, we'll do practice with the language. We'll focus on crime in Japan in that lesson. Then in week 7, we'll get ready to write the midterm assignment. The topic's going to be the low birth rate in Japan. So we'll think of ideas and do some planning in week 7. Then in week 8, I want you to submit a draft. And then week 9 will be the time for the final submission. So if you have any questions, please email me or ask me in class. Okay, thank you for watching. I hope that it was useful.